fees and charges.
Fired a couple for stealing.
Got us in for more money.
Good ones here. Yeah, I put in for a little more this year.
Yeah, so they,
You still there?
budget, yeah, yeah.
I was thinking, is this is this column header wrong?
Maybe that's expense to date or something.
Trying to catch the guy that stole it.
That should be as of a certain, the end of the year, it should be,
January 1st.
or current, what would have been current as of,
The lines
well,
tagged.
this says 12/31.
They were in
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah.
It's 7 p.m. I call to order this meeting of the Middlebury Development Review Board for Monday, January 27th, 2020. I'll go over the business agenda. The only application we have tonight is an application request by Anthony Neary Property Rentals LLC for an amended PUD approval for 55 Middle Road. At this time, are there any public communications on any subject or items not on the agenda for tonight?
Any word on the sidewalks on Exchange Street?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure other people could.
I'm just curious. I mean,
It's in the works, I think, yeah.
Okay, next item is the approval of the DRB minutes for 12/16/2019. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, changes, questions on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Motion-
abstain, I wasn't here at the meeting.
Likewise.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go straight to the business public hearing. An application request by Anthony Neary Property Rentals LLC for an amendment to the Plan Unit Development Approval 2018-28-176 SD dated December 20th, 2018 for the retail use of lot number 1 and a 3,000-foot addition to the existing structure located at 55 Middle Road. The 55 Middle Road property is located in the VRC on parcel 028176. Okay, if you'd like to come up and tell us your name and then give us an outline of your proposal, please.
Anthony Neary.
Okay, Tony? Okay. I got your name.
Oh, okay. That was-
The following is the DRB oath for applicants, interested persons, and others who wish to participate in this hearing. If you would like to ask questions or give testimony, please take the oath now. Also, if you are counsel and you plan to submit testimony or evidence orally, please take the oath now. Do you affirm that the evidence and information you are giving in this proceeding is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief? Please signify by raising your hand.
And that's anybody that might give testimony. Comments, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
This time, I would ask the board members of the board, if any member has a conflict of interest regarding this application. Also, at this time, does any member wish to disclose any ex parte conversations concerning this case? Okay, Tony, you may proceed.
I think, last time I was in, we talked about retail. That's just what we're looking at this time around, retail, for sure. Robin's here, he can explain exactly what he does. The new addition probably will be the storage area plus maybe 2,500 square feet of the 5,000 front part of it. Might be storage also, or half of that, or however. But I think he's gonna wind up with maybe 25 or 3,000 square feet of retail, and the balance will be either repair and storage for his business. He deals with electronic components, and I went over today and looked at what they do and how they do it. It's pretty interesting, and I was pretty impressed with it. But I think Robin, if you want, he can explain to you exactly what he does. But right now, it would be a retail space. There's a couple of changes. If you look at it, the thing that we should know about is on the corner on the north. You see that little triangle?
Tony, if you could go up there with a pointer and
Oh,
indicate.
Into it, Tony?
okay. It's younger than I am. Yeah, that little corner right there.
Yep.
Originally, we talked about trees and bushes and all those things, but when you get done trying to get a snowplow in and out and over and around, we decided maybe just painted lines would work. And that could prevent them from parking there. And then if you look at the front of the building, here, let me show you. See, on this map, it's been changed, on mine it wasn't. So our engineer got these, showed you the in and out here. So if you pull in here, instead of backing out here and going all the way around to get out, now if you pull in the front of the building, you back out, now you can go out this way. But once you get over to here, this all becomes one way.
Could you step back a little bit, Tony? Yeah, that's better, so I can see, that's good.
Well, it's self-explanatory, really. Does that make sense? Yeah, this was the only thing, this triangle was the two changes. The rest is about the same. That's it. There's 3 loading docks for equipment that Robin has down on the Exchange Street at his other warehouse, and then he would bring practically finished product up, and they finish it off and sell it as retail in the store. Just about, what I saw today was about every electronic component you can think of. Televisions,
So
Follow.
the existing building is 5,000, an addition of 3,000.
yeah.
Okay, could you go over the amount of retail spaces again, what? What is it?
We discussed it today a little,
Right.
I think around 2,500 square feet.
Okay, so,
Is that right, Robin, somewhere in that area?
If I could explain, right now, it's about $50,000 per month in online retail. So we're shipping we've got 12 employees who are on eBay or other listings, got cameras, we photograph the flat screen TV parts, which flat screens have now been around long enough, that people are starting to need to repair them. There's a big do-it-yourself community. So we've got gal comes at 4 a.m. to make sure that we have 3 shipments a day that go out, because the TV repair people in Sacramento and Dallas who order from us, they need an affordable part for somebody that's walked in, and they need to know it's gonna arrive the next day. Because if they order it from Panasonic, it's gonna cost 5 times more. The reason I'm explaining this is, that is retail, I guess, but that we do hope to expand local retail, because some items that we have, like the whole flat TVs, do not ship very well. So we're thinking if we move these 12 people that are right now photographing and selling the parts and distributing them, that we'll be able to add another 20% of business to local people who might also be looking for a used device or a repair.
okay, and so the remaining 5,500 feet is gonna be storage?
Repair and storage, yes.
Well, this is where I'm having trouble with the definition,
Yeah.
because somebody who's taking a photograph of a part and putting it on a shelf to respond to an online procurement, somebody trying to buy it on Amazon, I'm not quite sure how to classify that space. Do you call that the inventory, because until someone buys the part online? Or do you call it retail space, because people are buying it through the internet? But we don't anticipate people to be walking around it in that area.
Okay. Other questions from the board at this time?
You currently located in the industrial park?
Yes.
Okay. And this is gonna give you a larger,
I was the owner of 227 Pond Lane, the old CPC Plastics.
yes.
We had expanded to use that whole operation, but we're expanding now in Boston, so we moved about half of our operations to Brockton, Massachusetts, to sublet half of it to Connor Mill-Built Homes,
Oh, yes.
and then sold the building, and started talking to Tony because of the big talk about Connor Mill-Built Homes was gonna need the entire space. And I'm not sure where that's going, but I've now sold the building, and I think that it makes business sense to split the retail operations folks away from the junk.
Can you explain, please, what you envisage the retail space inside to look like and how people will interact with it?
I've got film somewhere, but it's on my phone. I don't think it's large enough. But if anyone wants to see it, I'll show it one by one. And that's why I asked Tony to come in this morning, just to see it. What you've got is our employees who have hundreds and hundreds of plasma, LED, flat screen TVs, as well as other things that we sell, magnets out of microwave ovens and things. But they're just photographing them, listing them on eBay or similar online store. And then we, in the last 30 days, we had 1,118 sales, ranging from things like Apple laptops to funny-looking magnets, antiques. But to this point, we have 0 walk-in. We have 0 local sales, because I don't want people to be coming, walking around in a warehouse space with forklifts.
It's probably a good thing.
But we do
Place is
have
big.
people that ask us all the time for them. And right now, what we do is say, okay, well, you're gonna have to go create an eBay account, log on, and then we both lose 40% of the price. And then there's a lot of very large things that just, you can't ship. But that's what we envision, and we could from there expand into other things like new parts. We've dabbled in starting to sell some new things as well as used, but so far it's all electronics or pieces that used to be electronics.
And all online?
Currently, yeah.
In Tony's space, you'll have the 5,000 plus square feet of storage, which is, I assume, where you'll have your forklift trucks and so on.
No, there would be no forklift.
No.
trucks.
So the front 2,500 to 3,000 square feet will be where the people will be photographing and posting?
The front would be, I presume, we haven't gotten totally into it, but that's where we would do some retail, have desks. But behind that area, we can continue to make $50,000 a month without a single local resident if nobody walks into that front 3,000 square feet. But we do hope that by moving here, that the business will grow and we'll be able to deal with larger items. But yeah, the fork trucks and all that things, that remains at 227 Pond Lane.
Can I ask more questions?
Sure, go ahead, Ann.
when you talked about 3 shipments a day, is that 3 shipments of purchased items going out to their eventual owners or to places that will be incorporating them into other products?
No, that's 3 visits from UPS, FedEx, collecting
Okay.
30 to 60 items. We're trying to we arranged with UPS, FedEx, to visit our warehouse 3 times per day in order to get that part to the TV requirement. Because
Okay.
once they've been happy and relieved and they get the part within 48 hours from us, they tend not to go shopping
Sure.
for that part. They're like, because they've got to make this deal. One of them told me, I've got 55 seconds to give the consumer a quote, whether they're gonna have this plasma TV fixed or not. So I'm not gonna go shopping, oh, Robin's selling it for $29, maybe I can find it. You know, that they're gonna walk out of there. So that's what we're about. It's about getting the FedEx, the UPS trucks, you know, which are small trucks, you know, in and out,
Right.
taking the packages.
And they will come to the front area or to the new docking facility?
Probably the rear, because that way, our staff are collecting everything, you know, together to be on a push cart, so that when the postal or whoever comes, they just scan each item that they put in the truck, which creates a record of it.
And on this plan here, Tony, are these tractor-trailer sizes? So what will be the tractor-trailer portion of the operation?
These would just be the trailers, not the tractor. And I would anticipate it might move 1 day a week. What you would have is an incoming, you know, the flat screens are parts that have been prepared that the staff are taking out to work on for that day. You also have an outgoing because some of the parts that they test, you know, don't work, or there's no demand for it, so the other trailer would be, you know, the outgoing. And then once a week or so, we would, you know, swap them and bring the empty back to 227 Pond Lane to get more parts to look up and list, and the full one, if it's junk, over to 227 Pond Lane to dispatch to our Brockton, Massachusetts facility.
So those 3 trailers will pretty much always be there, except when they're shunting to Exchange Street and back?
No, there will probably be 2 trailers, there most of the time, and then the other dock will be for either one of our small trucks, if they've got a small pickup or delivery, or the UPS, the FedEx,
Okay.
you know, the daily small trucks. We could change that design. It's good to have 3 spaces capable of having a trailer so that our truck driver doesn't have to, you know, play he can drop an empty one in the empty spot, pick up the full one, and that way you're rotating them.
You mentioned someone coming at 4 a.m. to photograph. What are the actual hours of operation on site?
No, she's not actually photographing, she's trying to make people that bought overnight. You know, she comes in to get any packages that sold overnight, get them ready for a shipment, and the first postal pickup person will come at 8 a.m. and take 40. That gives us a little bit of a
I see.
head start.
Okay.
It is very flexible work. We do employ a lot of people who have a second job or have a child care issue. Because if you are just looking things up online, taking the picture and posting them, it's not like running an 8 to 6 retail shop.
So what do you think the hours would be for, and for how many workers?
Let's see. Currently, nobody working for us works past 4 p.m. unless there's a special job. We do have about 5 or 6 people that like to come in. The earliest one is at 4 because of her family issue. But others like to come in at 6 and leave at 2. Since the majority of sales are outside of our Eastern Standard Time Zone, It's very flexible.
Okay.
Do the tractor trailer trucks, when they exchange, come in on the east side of the building and then down the north or down the south side of the building? Could you just track the path of a tractor trailer and how it backs in?
I imagine they would come in this way, back in like that.
That wouldn't be allowed.
I don't think so, because that would be a backing motion. They've got to choose a path into the building
Well,
from,
there's enough room in the bottom of that to be able to swing in near the dumpsters and back in also. There's quite a bit of room right there, so
so is that the,
they don't really have to back in off the road, but, you know, they may have to, I don't know.
So, has vehicular movement's been tracked through a program on this to determine whether or not,
Well,
whether or not they can make the turn in and
Well,
run
yeah,
down
we
the
added-
south side of the building.
we took the old town culvert out and put our own in, and made it about 8 feet longer.
But have those calculations, has John Ashley done those calculations?
I don't know, I imagine he did.
following that, is there any need in the way the business is run for staging containers or trailers not at the dock? In other words, around the yard?
Not that we're aware of, not that I'm aware of, I don't think so. I think they're just, those docks are there for that reason.
Yeah, we've got plenty of space for trailers at 227 Pond Lane.
The vehicular access on the west side of the building, is that sort of for emergency vehicles, or is that for these trailers, or?
Oh, you mean that little road that
Yes,
looks like a
because
road and
when
acts
you were
like a
here
road?
before, we were talking about
That
pizza
was prime,
pickup.
that was really put in to get the water away from the building, and it worked pretty well. It's just a gravel, it's like a gravel roadway, I will admit that, but you know, if we ever did anything way back when we talked about, what am I allowed to do and how
Right.
far I go? If someone had a business and needed a drive-in window or a bank perhaps, or something else, this would have been the place to be.
Right,
Right now, that, plans on that are not to be even used, but, you know, but it is there, and it's
Yeah.
gravel, there's about,
well, that makes sense. I mean,
well, it was unreal before that happened. That whole side was all, a lot of, water. It's gone now. That's probably one of the reasons we saved the building instead of tearing it down. It's amazing, it's an old building, but it's just a pole barn, perfectly square. I can't believe it, but it is. So we saved it, and the addition on the south side will be, the difference will be I'll have heat in the floor on the addition, where this other part of it, it's a little late for that. But I like to put that radiant heat in floors. It really works well, especially if employees are working out there.
Tony, what's your time frame here as far as?
Well, Robin and I talked about before June 1, to have him in there before June 1. Of course, my contractor's in Florida with his horses, and my other guy's, I don't know where he went hunting somewhere, so I gotta depend on the guys I do business with that already know what's going on, you know?
The pressure
That's-
from Connor Millville's homes is also greatly reduced.
Yeah.
and that's for the construction of the addition.
Yeah, the addition and getting the two buildings to match, the roofs to be similar, to be a standing seam on the south end, the new addition as well as the other. And there's a bunch of repairs, of course, on the inside that we have to do. But
Other than the south addition, there'll be no changes to the existing building.
no, I mean, well, the outside of the building may change so they match. All right, I mean, that's gotta be, I mean, something that, I mean, I know you people would go nuts if you had concrete here and then wood there, and instead of it all matching. But it's gonna be green, the whole building's gonna be green, just like it is right now.
Other questions from the board?
When you were here before, staff pointed out the requirement that there be trees in the parking area. You
Well,
don't seem to have addressed that.
The trees are, there's really, the trees that are there now are staying.
Right, but the
There's quite a
rules
few of them.
require trees in the parking.
Well, there's no, for me, to put trees right here when you say parking area. The dollar store driveway is here, and there's a whole series of trees all along that are blocking the building from sight of anybody other than his driveway.
Do you want to,
I mean,
Dave, do you want to clarify that for Mr.
I don't know.
Derry?
Yeah, the only thing that's required, our landscaping requirement, Tony, says that you're supposed to have one tree for every 10 parking spaces. So, you know, and it's an effort to break up the parking, along that
Put
north.
it in
or
the park, put it
east
right in the
side.
parking areas?
Well, I think there may be a little flexibility there, but that's one reason why we were asking about, or I was asking, about the triangular area, you know, about utilizing that as some of your landscaping. You make the valid point, it's hard to plow snow and that kind of thing, but there is some requirements there. The other thing is there's requirements about trying to screen storage trailers.
Well,
And-
I think that's done pretty well. If you drive down there, you'll see that whole corner's got trees there.
Yeah, well, and it may be, but if there needs to be more, would
What
you?
would the object be?
Well, I'm just saying the bylaws require it, that's all.
Well, okay, after what I've been through, I'll be honest with you, with Greg's Market and 4 trees, and what it took to do that in a coal yard, and the cost, I'll tell you, it's pretty hard for me to swallow any trees along this area when everything from his dollar store way up on Route 7 is trees all the way down through, all the way lined on that whole other side, and the only thing between the parking and those trees is his driveway, which is only used, I think, once or twice a week for his truck to come in and out of. You know what I'm saying? It's not the, I don't want to hide the building, but I don't care about that. It just doesn't make sense to invest that kind of money to put trees in the parking area itself. I mean, I know there's bylaws, but, I don't see where we're gonna put them except in a parking space. Because your requirement was to put a little sidewalk or whatever I'm gonna do alongside the building so a person get out of his car, get out and walk around to the front. The other option is to put doors on the side of the building so they get out of the car and walk right into the retail space. That's the other option. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you do? Okay. All right.
Actually, the bylaw prohibits storage trailers visible from the road at all, unless allowed by conditional use approval by the DRB, so screening is probably the least that they could require. They could prohibit it altogether. Because, in effect, those are just storage trailers, just parked there all the time. Even if you're rotating them out once a week, they're just always there. The presence, it's always a visible presence at those loading docks, right? There's no way to not have those trailers there parked all the time. You work out of them.
I wouldn't be willing to relocate the company without them.
You work out of them. It's not like you could unload it and then take it back to Pond Lane and then come back when you're ready. That's just the way. Trying to understand.
It would increase traffic to do that, because we would have to be driving there for every day to do a pickup if we don't have, the trailer to stage. I thought that this would actually be, because, as a parent, my kids aren't at the middle school anymore, but I was thinking how I could design something that wouldn't be daily. And so I came up with this, thinking, hey, if we do it this way, we can come once on the weekend or something, and we'll never be in the way of the parents going to mom's. Yeah, I wasn't aware that it couldn't be done, but that building's been empty and vacant for a very long time, Wonder if we can't work something out.
It can be done if they approve it, but if they approve it, they'll have to make sure that you can't see it from the road. I guess that's all I'm saying. Before we squabble too much about trees. The trees are the way to even allow it at all. or a fence or something, or burn.
Where are we talking about? Yeah, I know that, but where would you put the screening? If you want, I mean, you have an opening there. You can't screen the opening to the road. It's always going to be visible there. Where are we actually talking about putting the screening?
I'm not the engineer, I'm not proposing any screening, I'm not even proposing that you approve it or don't, I'm just saying, if you do approve it, obviously you need to approve it in a way that you're not gonna see the trailers, that's all I'm saying. It's up to Tony to.
Well, I think it's gonna be, well, I think it's gonna be tough to see the trailers once you,
This is what it looks like from the side.
except for that 30 feet drive-in. These are all trees here now. There's no trees over on Mahmoud's side, except on the other side of his driveway. A lot of trees.
Specifically for the loading dock and those trailers is what the issue is. It's
I guess,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's already trees there, but they're spaced out pretty widely. You know, I imagine you could fill in between these trees with other small plantings, or you could do a berm and a vegetation
Oh, I don't-
berm. You could do a
Jen, I don't
fence.
think they're there. How long ago was that?
I don't know.
Well, I don't think those trees are there, but I think there's one or two up towards the front, but, I mean, I really wanted to look at that whole tree ring right here. I mean, nobody from the parking lot of the shopping center can see. I mean, there's that many trees. Yeah. So, the only other place maybe would be the driveway, south of the driveway where there's trees now. Well, I don't know. I don't think we should put trees right in the parking area. It's hard enough to get the cars in there now. But after the experience with trees that I had, I don't know if I'll do anything with any trees.
Other questions from the board at this time?
So is the intent to screen the, how do you plan on screening the recycling and the garbage area? You gonna put a fence around that? Is that the intent, to keep?
We don't have any garbage area at 227 Pond Lane. I can't imagine that we would here. Oh, yeah,
Just
it's all
the reason
dry
why-
material.
The reason why I question it is just there is a spot shown for that, so.
Yeah, we show one, but I asked him about it, but he carries his recycling back to his plant, if it's cardboard, I guess. I don't know. As far as garbage, there is none. So you could eliminate that if he carries his,
Yeah, we don't need a outdoor dumpster.
we have a cardboard press. When our food trailer comes in, drops off our food, we turn around and take a block of cardboard, put it on that food trailer. Off it goes back to the plant.
What about garbage that employees create, like candy wrappers and used Kleenex and who knows what? They would take that all home with them?
No, currently, once a day, we tie up a bag of garbage and put it in the truck.
These are registered and
In the truck, one of the trailers that goes,
It could be in one of the trailers, it could be in
It's a
one
van
of the
trailer.
short trucks.
and goes to your other location.
Van trailer, other vehicles are.
Yeah, the other location has a solid waste.
I see,
element.
thank you.
Trailer.
see, yeah, I think those are bodies, you know, that, I don't know, I think that's.
Tony, would you remind me how long the extension is, the new addition? How far are you bringing out the face of the building on the bottom of that drawing?
On the south side, you mean?
Yeah,
I think it's 50 feet.
about 50 feet.
I was right, yeah, I think it's 50 feet. It's 48 by 50 or, yeah, it looks like 50 feet on that.
Is it? Yeah, I didn't think over the scale.
I brought one.
Thank you.
Is the driveway going to be 40 feet wide? You mentioned 30 a few minutes
Well,
ago.
whatever the building is, if the building's, I think it says it right on it, I can't really see it, but. No, it doesn't say it on it, I was surprised.
If it helps for orientation, the right-of-way at the front of the building on the north side is 30 feet wide. And I believe when I was looking at this with John Ashley, so the roadway as it comes around the east side of the building, that's the minimum required. It's very tight, but it meets the minimum requirements.
I was thinking about the space that goes out onto Middle Road on the south end, which,
The entrance itself,
yes,
is that adequate? Is that what you were asking?
right,
Ian?
because on one plan it said 25 feet, and I remembered that we said that wasn't enough. And I made a note that it was going to be 40 feet, but Tony just mentioned 30 feet, and I just wondered.
That's why I'm thinking the
it's
entrance
supposed
is
to be.
30 feet, isn't it? I don't know why I don't have that. but-
On the revised drawing, it says
Ju-
minimum 22, right?
And it scales 40 feet.
Oh, it does scale 40?
Scale 40 feet.
So it is 40 feet.
Okay.
I know Jimmy,
It's actually called out, Tony.
Oh, that's what's now,
It's called out as 40 feet.
yeah, that's what's now marked on this larger plan that we got this evening.
One of the requirements the town has is that there could be no backing movements from Middle Road with a tractor and a trailer. It would all have to be done internally,
yeah,
just so we're clear about that.
that's why he made that 40 feet, so he could pull in and back up to the building. Yep.
Other questions from the board this time?
We wondered last time about not seeing a rendering of the building. Perhaps we'd be happy for Tony to work with staff on what the external changes to the building will be and the uniformity of the addition with the existing building, rather than our seeing that.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Are there, I'm sorry.
Anything else from the board at this time? Staff, is there any other?
I was just thinking about the building itself. The orientation, the retail store part is going to be on the north side. Is that where the entrance will be?
Right, there's
Well,
two entrances there.
Are you proposing any windows or anything
They're already
along
there, the whole north side.
the whole north side? Anything on the east or?
I didn't plan on it unless it's something I think he wanted. I didn't have any intention of putting any windows
There's more windows than the staff have now.
in. Yeah, that's true.
So I have a question about the other side. The character of those dock bays, are those rolling metal doors? Are they the loading dock bays? Are they gonna be, on the addition, are they gonna be rolling metal doors or?
Yeah, they're made of metal, overhead doors, 9-footers.
Yeah, will they have the, the sealer
Yeah.
connector things around them?
Yep.
And those project
So when it
out?
backs up, it seals the best it can, you know. We did it at the Vermont Soap Building, and I've got it in all my buildings on Exchange Street.
And there'll be a man door on that wall as well?
Yeah, on the back side of that wall so the driver can get inside. You know, I don't know why it doesn't show it here, but we discussed it a number of times, and John didn't put it in, but
But it'll be essentially on the left-hand side of that wall, where the bays come from the right to the left, 1, 2, 3, it'll be out to the left where there's a gap?
yep, that's what I'm thinking. Now, that's gotta be an 8-foot wall to start with, just to make that 4-foot loading dock work.
Yeah.
So it would have to be on the corners, probably on the corner on the east side where that parking lot is. There's a sidewalk right there, so, or a little walkway. Say the end Oh, it's gone. The end,
Which side were you talking about, Tony?
I'm thinking, as you're looking at it on the right,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, you'd need a driver door anyway.
And as a docking bay, you're gonna have to lower the elevation in order to,
Right.
so there's gonna be some stormwater infrastructure, otherwise it's just gonna
Right
be a nice
now,
pond in
it's,
that clay.
Jimmy was telling me from Champlain, it's all there. He said, I mean, once they put that culvert in and straightened out the property, all this water runs that way anyhow.
So there's enough of an elevation change
Yeah,
between the bottom of where the trailers are gonna sit and,
all the way down when you
okay.
lower that grade. Loading dock right there.
It was also asked, do you plan the driveway itself will be gravel, or do you plan on paving that as well?
Eventually, I want to pave.
But at first, it'll just be a gravel
Well,
driveway.
right now, this is paved up front. The side, it has to be all dug out and gravelled and shaped, and, lean away from the building. Right now, it's all, there's water sitting right where, just about where it looks like a roadway. There's little gaps of water, so it'd have to drain down, drain into that, and drain down into the road. There's also a couple of manholes that are in and around there. The sewer's on the south side, the water's on the north side. It comes in from, the water comes in from the bank area, Citizens Bank, down into the building, and comes all the way down to the back of the building right now. So there'll be a bathroom there, and the sewer connection is right there, and then across the building on the other side, there's also a sewer connection going out, so they were split up. And so I got water and sewer on both sides. The inside's a mess.
Anything else from staff at this point?
I'm sorry, I want to just clarify, Dave, the point David asked about. Are you saying, Tony, that, Mr. Neary, that the front of this building is at, stepping up to the retail grade, and that the back of the building is at -3 or -4 for the docks, but there's not like a trench here where the trucks pull in?
Yeah,
It just
would be
feathers
graded.
out to the parking lot?
It would, the whole thing is graded to the back of the road, right to the road.
Got it, okay.
This here is already paved, and the water goes towards the road out in front also.
Sorry, my neighbor pointed out my error. I didn't realize it was a 2-foot contour. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board at this time?
Do you want to ask about the sidewalks?
At this
Oh,
time? Go ahead.
yeah, there was some questions about the sidewalk along the building. Will that be constructed in such a way such that, if a car pulling up to the sidewalk and a pedestrian's on the sidewalk, the pedestrian's safe, it's either an elevated curb,
Right.
or there's,
Well, those things that, short box, the short ones, not the ones like I have at Greg's, the short box, one for each one of those
So
parking
there's just
spaces
curb.
like I have at the A&W, and then pin them, and then we would take the blacktop, I'd like to be able to take the blacktop and raise it right to the back of that in order to create that sidewalk. My biggest concern is the snowfall to that side on the building. And I think there's a 2-foot overhang anyway, so it's somewhat of a help. That's gonna take some maintenance, that's for sure.
And the sidewalk will just be an asphalt sidewalk, that's what
Yep.
you're planning?
And given the current operations and the anticipated possible sales to people in Middlebury, the sidewalk is not going to be used very much,
Not really.
this type of
No,
operation, compared to the businesses
Right,
you were
right,
talking
the
about
public
before.
would be using the front of the building. The sidewalk's gonna be primarily used by employees. That's the way I see it, but I may be wrong. He may be, 3 months into it, he might say, I need a door on the side. Okay, so I'll come and see you about a door, you know. I don't know what's gonna happen. This, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I really like what Robin's trying to do. I think it'll work well, and if you need a television, you gotta go see Robin. Cheap compared to anywhere else, the way I see it.
You could email anybody a film clip if they're curious.
How many employees will be on site at any one time?
We currently have 30, and we're roughly talking about splitting it 15-15, but, you know, we will be able to be flexible if we want to be.
Okay.
Move 10 or 18 or something.
Okay, at this time, I'll open up the public portion of the meeting. If anyone has any questions or comments, please give us your name and
Yeah, Farhad Khan, I own the dollar store. I am Tony's neighbor right now. I'm just curious about my side of the building where you have this parking created, and how wide is the road between my property and that parking spot? Like 15 foot?
Well, it's more than that, I think. I think the minimum was 25.
It says 15 here on the map. Can you?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
Minimum 15.
This,
That one, yeah,
the site plan says 15 feet,
15, right? So it is 15.
and that's the minimum required for diagonal parking
Okay.
with one-way traffic.
So that space was wide enough, so I'm not very concerned about that. It's just that when that road becomes activated, there's gonna be, I'm just being a neighbor, I'm wondering how the snow plowing and maintenance is gonna look like when it's all said and done.
No, we'll push the snow down the road all the way down to where those dumpsters were supposed to be, probably. And that's why on that corner, we're just gonna paint the triangle.
Yep.
Come around the corner and push the snow down when there's no cars parked there or anything. It's all gonna go towards the back where the road is.
That's all I got. Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions? Comment? Hearing none. Any further comments from the board or questions or staff? Is there a motion?
Move we go into deliberative session.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will go into deliberative session now and make a decision.
I'll bring it next time.
We're back on. Is there a motion to come out of deliberative session?
So moved.
Second? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're out of deliberative session. Is there a motion?
I move a continuance to February 24th.
7B.
7 PM.
For the,
Reviewing requested information.
on the Anthony Neary property. Is there a second to that motion?
I couldn't quite hear it, so. can you say it?
Like-
I move a continuance to February 24th, 7 PM.
For review of the requested information
Right.
during deliberative session.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Questions about the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unopposed?
Who seconded it? Thank you.
Okay, other business.
None that I'm aware of.
I have a question. Who is, are there any members of the board that are up for reapproval, or,
Reappointment?
reappointment, or appointment, I should say?
I didn't check. Beth has been emailing people directly.
Beth?
Yeah, Beth is gonna email people. I did not check myself.
Okay.
Sounds gonna be pretty close.
Is
I haven't
Kevin
got an
pretty,
email. I'll check my spam folder tomorrow.
is Kevin pretty close?
Oh, I wonder, yeah. Maybe.
Kevin who?
Well, when I'm talking with, okay, so we'll, will those, Beth is gonna send those out soon, or
Mhm.
you think she may have sent them out already?
Oh, no,
I-
anytime now, because, the positions last until town meeting day.
Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, all right.
So your bribes and fruit baskets will go out right after that to encourage you to stay.
Anything else under other business?
What, I'm just curious as to the canal's reaction to.
We're working to resolve it
Amicably.
amicably. Yeah, I think it may go, based on what I'm hearing, we'll do the 540C, where we'll do an administrative conditional review after notification to you guys with the revised plans and the neighbors. But I've encouraged them strongly to talk to the neighbors. You know, if the neighbors aren't on board with it, it's kind of a futile effort. But I think there's some compromise. That's-
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Well done, Kathy. Thank you.